Good morning, children, and hello, all lovers of America. This is Pete Siebert, Austin, Texas, by way of Ohio, Indiana, and Kentucky. So glad to be in touch and hopefully a little bit in tune. Yes, at the heart of America, or at the heart of any country, is story. Yours, mine, and all of ours, together and differently. Yes, we know that we can do better than we are doing at this particular time, and melding our stories and yet keeping faithful to the true ones and the ones that define who we are and describe, and yet being open to the new that is ahead of us at the same time. How can we do this is the question on our minds, isn't it? How can we gain a better understanding of each other and create the bridges or the new stories without denigrating both each other and the stories that make us and that tell who we are? This American chalice is both international, it's interfaith, it's interactive in all kinds of different ways, isn't it? But at times, that brew that's in that chalice can be bitter, and even its fragrance offensive. I want to share with you a letter that I found in my heart on November the 2nd. And my first recording of it was November the 8th, the morning of our election, before we had made our decision. Yes, here it is. Dear citizens, in these troubled times, what will call us to rediscover our roots, to review our dreams, and listen to each other, to be Americans in our stories, in our hearts, and in our minds again. Yes, we find them, don't we? They're posted on the refrigerators and Instagram and Facebook and our local and national museums. But most of all, they're in our bones, aren't they? And in our hearts and in our minds. The stories that tell and define who we are. What stories reveal our roots? What questions do they ask? And that question is asked again and again, is it not? By teachers and professors, by commentators, and we parents ask it of our children because we see that same question, who are you, America, in the minds and the hearts and particularly the eyes of our children. And I'm convinced that millions upon millions have never abandoned that faith and that hope and that love that they have discovered in the American dream, without denying our flaws. Are these flaws fatal? That's the question that's not hidden anymore, is it? It's on so many of our minds, but we answer that question on election day, as people have done and are doing this very day. And in the first year of our 45th president, here's another question that's so related. Patrick Henry asked the question a few hundred years ago. Is life so dear and peace so sweet as to be purchased at the price of chains and slavery? His answer, we can quote it, can we? Forbid it, Almighty God. But as for me, give me liberty or give me death. It also reminds me of what Arnold Toynbee said, civilizations commit suicide. They are not murdered. In America, though, we don't leave it up to the experts to make the decision. We all have a vote. We don't just leave it up to those who get here first. We all each have one vote. And my heart fills with hope and faith even as I feel the discontent. And I feel the ache. The hope never goes away. That you and I and so many others know what it means to believe, to trust, and to love dearly, and that shouting and blaming other people will not pay the necessary price of freedom. The Bill of Rights is coming due, is it not? Elton Trueblood put it this way, The terrible danger of our time, ours is a cut flower civilization. Eventually they die, and they die because they're severed from their roots. Now, fear and resentment-filled words and policies and actions and even protest will not pay that necessary price. I don't want to lose America. My children and my grandchildren are doing well in the soil and in the cities and towns of this grand land. May yours be doing the same. And if they haven't found their way yet, may it be soon, is my prayer joined with yours. As this Bill of Rights is coming due, would you take with me 3 steps? The first is reward the young people in your life with patriotic projects and take them to places where the America comes alive and beats in your own heart. It might be a family place. It might be a grand national monument or a state or a national park. But take them there and tell the stories of your family coming to America and what your family has been doing since, so that they will know their own roots and not be severed from them in the pace of life. My heart is so full of hope and, yes, discontent and ache, but I've lived 75 years. That's 3/4 of a century, and I know that only faith, hope, and love are the antidotes to fear and greed and power hungriness. Only equal passions of the kind that you and I have deep within us will counteract what needs to be done. And so, we the people who've built the farms, the villages, the churches, the synagogues, and now the mosque, the businesses, we travel this whole land, didn't we? We travel the planet. We're headed to the moon, making plans to go to Mars. What a people we are. May we never forget. Yes, reward those young ones. And the second step, let us all gather somewhere with our people to listen and to read, and some of you go to the inaugural and listen. Whoever that president is, that they may call us to all that we are. I'm going to be putting something called Bridges to America online on a monthly basis, a letter to you and the people who make this country the grand land that it is. And so, yes, the third thing then is a personal favor. Read and watch. Help me make this interactive. Put down things that are practical to you and your family, to tell the stories, to make them come alive again, and what your children tell you of their hopes and their dreams. We too can build the bridges to a new America, a renewed America, across the red and blue states, across the black and white, the green, the yellow, the red, and the brown states of mind. Because America is more, my friend, than our family and kin, our race, even our religions, even our history and geography. It is what we can make it together and apart. And so I salute you, those that have gone before me, and those of you who will come after me in the centuries ahead. Stephen Pete Siebert, Austin, Texas.